The world is going green, and we are part of the world community. We cannot ignore the fact that there is an energy crisis, there is a climate change, and each and every one of us, as an individual and as an industry, we need to play a very, very important role and a key role in helping that the world go green, because if we don't do it, the next generation is going to blame us that we did not pay attention at the right time for the right reason.
There was a time when going green was just about the fashion. You know, it's kind of nice to talk about going green. But I think now there is a real business impact to going green. You know, you can actually make business dollars if you're going green.
Our industry is contributing about 2.5 to 3.5% in the greenhouse gas emission, depending on how you calculate it.
It's not really that the operator wants to go green, it's that when you're making only $5 per month or less per subscribers, you need to cut your costs. So CapEx, you talk to the supplier, and OpEx, well, electricity is a big chunk of CapEx. So there's no doubt that green is the way to go, and they will be forced to do it anyway.
Here is a classical shelter solution. With the shelter comes as a flat pack, like a Swedish IKEA pack, quickly mounted with air conditioner and the RBS equipment inside. These type of shelters are mainly run by one operator, but we see in the business that the operators are starting to share the passive equipment. That could be the tower and the shelter to bring down the costs when you go rural. I mean, if we look at places like Nigeria, where GSM is growing like never before, 80% of their sites are off-grid. That means that they're outside the normal power system, and then you need to diesel. And you don't need just one of these. You need two of these diesel generators, and you need large amount of fuel and the supply and logistics for that. And that becomes quite costly. And then you have solar cells like this. And of course, you need the batteries for nighttime stored in boxes like this. And then you need a site and radio equipment that is not too large, otherwise you will have a football field of this.
We are looking at virtualizing data centers. What it means is that you now do not need to have so many data centers. You can reduce the size of the data centers. We are also coming up with our solutions or products which actually consume less power by having some new fabric design and things like that.
How do you survive? How do you power your data centers? So people are beginning to do some very interesting and innovative things. For example, you must have heard about virtualizations of servers and remote access. You have countries such as Iceland and Canada today who are promoting the fact that they are cool countries. They don't need air conditioning to cool this equipment, right? So they're now actually promoting themselves as green data centers, that you can actually have a data center there and remotely connect up to them. You have people who are looking at, like Google, for example, who are looking into being a producer of alternative energy, but also locating data centers close to the energy source rather than bringing the energy to the data source. So there are many things like that, and they're actually looking at the bottom line.
We're consolidating 33,000 servers down to 15 servers. It's an 85% reduction in power, as an example, 90% reduction in floor space.
But if you look forward and extrapolate it for another 10 to 15 years, we can see that networking industry, among all of the different elements of the ICT industry, is itself going to be responsible for almost 10 billion kilowatt hour usage, which is a drastic percentage of the total IT spend in terms of energy. So there is a definite need for ICT as an organization and for networking vendors like Juniper to take the initiative and leadership to go and solve this problem.
環境の面で言いますと、まさに今地球環境が問題になっている時ですけれども、携帯はこれからもうどんどんまだ増えていくと思います。そのための端末、それから基地局の電力消費量というのは非常にいやが上でも多くなっていかざるを得ないというふうに思っています。そういった中で我々ができること、それはやはり資源という意味での端末リサイクル、そして例えば基地局で言いますと、いかに電力の使用量を少なくしていくかとか、そういった環境に配慮した取り組みというのは我々としてはやっていかなければいけないんじゃないかと思っています。
Well, we have been working a lot with the environment, with the sustainability, with the responsibility matters, and basically, I guess, been doing more than simply communicating externally. And now we will communicate more, but we also have some very concrete stuff ongoing. Today, we did introduce a new concept for a phone called Remade. This is made solely on recyclable materials. It's a concept yet, as of yet, but it will become a phone one day.
When the Secretary General of United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, visited ITU early last year in July, he said that climate change is a moral obligation of our generation. But he also emphasized the importance of information and communication technology in order to fight that climate change.